Welcome to the Intentional Household podcast. Today, we have Tania Tonello, fashion stylist and personal shopper who helps people to feel their best in what they wear. If you're looking to do a closet reset, learn about a capsule wardrobe, or just feel better about the clothes you wear, then this episode is for you. Tania, thank you for joining us. We are currently in the transition from summer to fall. Would you say that this is a good time to do a closet reset?
Thank you for having me. So excited to see you. I would say not only is it a good time, it's an optimal time.
Okay.
Because we're wrapping up the summer season. So really, it's a perfect time to look at your spring and summer wardrobe and really assess, because we're coming off of the season, did you wear it? Did you not wear it? Why did you wear it? Why did you not? And then really take stock of those items and do something about that.
Say you weren't in a seasonal transition and it was just a random time. What are signs that listeners or I might need a closet reset?
I think a closet reset can be done at any time, to your point. Although this is the optimal time, any day is perfect for it.
Okay.
And some of those signs are frustration, when you're feeling like you're going to your closet in your wardrobe and you're feeling frustrated with what you're looking at, right? I know a lot of people can relate to that. Mm-hmm. Anxiety. You're entering your wardrobe and you're feeling anxious about whether it's clutter or lack of options or too many options, right? So frustration, anxiety, even feeling defeated, right?
I think we often can feel all of those things at the same time because I can look at my closet and think I have so many options, but I have no options. And then I feel defeated and it's just like, well, what am I going to wear?
Right.
Yeah.
And I hear this a lot. And it's like, there's too much, right? Like, I don't know if this is a great example, but at Costco, they already do that research and work. So they just kind of narrow down the top 2 options per category generally. So they'll offer, like 2 cleaning products in terms of detergent.
Okay. Yes.
So if we could do that in our wardrobe and really narrow things down so we don't have that decision fatigue, that's going to make the experience that much better.
Okay. I get what you're saying because I'm just thinking about going to the ice cream shop with my kids. They have about 40 different flavors. Right. And when there is a lot of options, it's very difficult to make a decision.
For sure.
But if you narrow it down and there are only a few items, it's a lot easier.
Absolutely. So we're taking away that feeling of being overwhelmed. That's another feeling that can come up for people looking at their closet and wardrobes. So we don't want people to feel overwhelmed. We don't want people to feel anxious or frustrated. We want them to feel inspired. We want them to feel excited because, this is my philosophy and this is why I love what I do. I think that style and fashion should bring us joy. It's self-expression, it's creativity. So coming back to that place of joy versus these toxic feelings when we look at our closet.
Oh, that's such a good point. Okay, we should open our closets and feel energized and excited for the day ahead and what we're going to be wearing.
Absolutely. And so with that comes that work, whether it is in the form of a closet reset or edit, eliminating those pieces that are bringing us those feelings of anxiety and frustration. It's getting rid of those so that we are creating a space that feels inspiring and joyful.
So for people who've never done a reset, is there a system or a particular way of doing it?
It does come down to basics of going through ideally all of the pieces that you have.
Okay.
And with that involves trying them on.
Oh, wow.
Right. So that's going to require time.
Okay.
And this is something you have to schedule. You're not just, maybe you are going to wake up one day randomly and think, oh, let me just start trying on some clothes and paring down my closet. But generally it is something that you really want to strategize. You want to look at your calendar. You want to make the time. You want to feel good when you're doing this too, because it is very much of a physical activity. So make sure you have the energy and, you feel your best physically when you're doing this.
In terms of the clothing that's in our closet, do you advise individuals to have, if their closet can store it all, to store it all in there? Or if I am transitioning from summer to fall, would I be removing all of the summer items, storing them somewhere, and then just look at the fall clothing so that I'm not overwhelmed?
That's an excellent question. And very much to your point, it depends on how much space you have. So I think if you have the space and you can house all seasons in your closet and, you could really see everything. So it's not out of sight, out of mind. I think that's ideal.
Okay.
Because sometimes even pieces that we might deem summer pieces, it could be used for layering during the winter.
Got it. Okay.
And I know that some are traveling to warm places within the winter. So that just makes that part easy too when you're traveling and you're grabbing those summer pieces in an off summer season. So I think it's best to have it all there. However, it really does depend on the individual. And if it does feel like too much and it does feel overwhelming because you have these non-seasonal pieces, then absolutely store them away if you have storage perhaps in the basement or under your bed or something where it's not too far away and you could still access it, then for sure, that's a great idea. So it is very much of an individual consideration based on lifestyle and space.
Okay. And so for the reset, is the idea that I am going to be trying on everything in the closet, whether it's relevant to the season ahead or like the season I'm coming out of, or even a different season?
In a perfect world, we're trying on everything, all seasons. If we want to make this a little bit more digestible, then I would start with current season. So, right now, heading into September, right? We're heading into some cooler months ahead. The fall's around the corner. So we can start looking at our fall winter wardrobe and trying on all of those pieces before we're heading into the season to see really what's making sense and what's not. And what I love about doing this prior to a season starting is we're also going to be able to identify those pieces that maybe are a little bit damaged. Maybe something has a stain and we kind of missed it last season or we didn't want to deal with it. And we were like, okay, I'll take care of that later. So we can sort out those pieces that need to be laundered. We can also sort out those pieces that perhaps need alterations and just anything that's not ready to be worn. Like we just want to make sure that when we start the season, we can take it out of the closet and immediately wear it and there's no prep work required.
Got it. You're ready to go.
Yes.
Okay. So say I'm going through my pieces, trying them on. Is there anything in particular I should be looking at in terms of what to keep, what to get rid of?
Absolutely. So some of those considerations are, first of all, fit. That's a big one. That's the primary one. So is it too large? Is it, adding to your shape because it's ill-fitting? Conversely, is it too tight? And therefore, first of all, that's not going to be comfortable. So those are like the number one considerations.
Okay. Now I know that there are some people who think in my past life or before I had kids, I used to wear this.
Right.
That was 7 years ago. It doesn't fit though, but I hope to one day fit into it. How would you advise them on storing, getting rid of, or just handling that piece of clothing?
This comes up the most often. So thank you for bringing this up. And it's a matter of, again, very individual. So if someone has a goal in terms of, how they're looking physically and perhaps their weight, I'm going to honor that. That's their journey. And I'm going to have that conversation with them in terms of what's realistic with that. So let's say something is maybe a size up or a size down. I think there is space to hold on to those pieces. If something is 6 sizes up or down, I think that's a different conversation. And I think that's a piece that should be released.
Okay. That's a good rule of thumb. And I suppose the other factor to consider is that while this may have fit 7 years ago and say it fit again, would I still wear it though? If it fit me? Because the times have changed. Maybe even if it did, I wouldn't still be wearing it.
That's right. So, and we know that there's the fashion cycle and these trends come and go. And typically when they come back, they do evolve. They don't come back in the exact same way. So I know for some, it's very hard to release pieces because of how much they paid for them. There's also that emotional attachment to them. But really at the end of the day, like you said, we're evolving as human beings. And so are our clothes reflecting who we are today or who we were 7 years ago? So we want to evolve with our clothes.
That's such a good point about the amount of money someone may have spent on it, because I know in our household, there may be certain items where a certain individual has spent a lot of money on an item, but that item has worn out and they still want to keep it, But I'm like, hey, it's not even wearable, right? But they're just seeing the amount of money that they have spent on the item and don't want to let it go because of that, even if they aren't going to wear it again.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a big one. And it's interesting because you bring up the example where someone has worn it so much and they spent a lot of money on it. What I typically see is that someone has spent a lot of money on something and it's just sitting there, sometimes with the price tag on it. So that one's super tough because now we have shame and guilt about spending so much money on a piece of clothing and we haven't even worn it. So how dare I get rid of that when I haven't even worn it?
That's such a good point.
And so now we're punishing ourselves by keeping it in our closet as this reminder of this purchase that we made. Maybe it was impulsive. Maybe it was an influence purchase from someone online, whatever that may be. That's such a tough one because it's just we're continuing to punish ourselves by keeping it there rather than releasing it. And I know that can be tough because of how much we spent on it. However, if we either donate it and then do good in that sense to another community and to someone who will actually wear it, that can make us feel better. Or perhaps depending on, the brand, it could be consigned, it could be sold. So at least you can get some money back.
Okay, good point.
So there are ways to release it that will make you feel better because really it's just taking up real estate and collecting dust. And that's not helpful.
And making you feel guilty because you see it every time. And then you think about how you haven't worn it, but you spent that money.
Exactly. Why do we need that visual reminder of a purchase or a decision that was maybe not our best? It's and we all do it. And we all do it. So I say that with no judgment. I've done it myself. But it's so interesting. Once we get rid of that piece or pieces, it really is out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to think every day, oh, remember when I purchased that piece and then got rid of it? No, it's gone. You might remember it for a bit, but eventually it's going to go away. It's out of sight. So release it.
What kind of mindset shifts have you noticed with clients who have done a closet reset, gotten rid of these items, and are now feeling less overwhelmed with the state of their closet?
I really feel so blessed and privileged to do what I do because I get to help people look better and feel better. And the closet edit, it's such a rewarding experience, selfishly for me, but of course for the client, because they're physically releasing pieces. And we know that clothing pieces are energy. So there is, first of all, there's a visual difference in terms of there's less clutter. You just have less things.
Yeah.
And then also you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that. They say declutter your space, declutter your mind. We know that there's truth to that. To answer your question, they feel lighter.
Yeah.
They feel more free. They feel a term that has been shared with me. A couple of clients have said they feel like they had like a rebirth.
Wow.
Yes. Like they feel like a different person because they've shed these pieces that were a part of their past or their former self. And now we've literally created space for them to evolve into the person that they are now or who they want to be.
Oh, I love that so much. I mean, I remember when you helped me, it wasn't a closet reset, but it was after I had my youngest and I was in such a rut with what I was wearing and it had been so long since I had worn, I don't know, like normal clothes. And you helped me and it was so inspiring. And it kind of was like a rebirth. It was like, okay, now I know how I can dress myself again. And it's very motivating.
Oh, thank you. I love, I had such a great time with you and I really appreciate you saying that. And it's great to hear. And yeah, sometimes it's just as simple. It doesn't need to be this huge like overhaul. Sometimes it is just a personal shopping appointment. It depends on the client and where they want to meet me and where they want me to meet them.
Yeah. And don't worry, what I'm wearing today is not a reflection of you.
Stop it. Eyelet is classic. You cannot go wrong. In white, it's beautiful.
I have heard so many people talk about capsule wardrobes. I'd love to talk about that. Firstly, what is it?
Yes. Let's start there because some people don't know what it is, and that's totally fair. So essentially, it's a collection of clothing, more of a minimalist collection of clothing that can be mixed and matched so that it can be worn to various like occasions or settings.
So is the point of it so that you can maintain a minimalist approach, or what are the benefits of having one?
Once again, it does depend on the individual and what that capsule wardrobe is going to look like. For some, it might be 20 pieces. For someone else, it might be 50 pieces. It really depends on lifestyle, budget, preferences.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, The goal is to have a more strategic and intentional wardrobe.
Okay.
So that we are reducing that decision fatigue.
Yes. That's
We're
what I want.
reducing clutter.
Okay.
So we know what we have. We know it's all going to work together. Because as I said, when you mix and match them, you're creating multiple looks.
Okay.
Giving these, let's just say 20 pieces. So we know that they work in harmony with one another. So we're gonna create a lot of different looks with very little pieces is the goal.
That is exactly what I want and need. And I think Tatiana and I, after this, are both going to follow the suggestions that you have after this on how we can get our capsule wardrobes.
Sure.
So for the fall, what would be examples of how we would put together a capsule wardrobe?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, it is going to look different for everyone. However, there are some staple pieces that I think are universal for a capsule wardrobe. And one is a great pair of denim pants. Okay. That is a wardrobe staple. And with that, we want to make sure that we're really, when we have that capsule wardrobe and we're thinking about minimal pieces, and that they're versatile, I really want to stress the importance of classic cuts. So rather than, skinny jeans, wide leg jeans, like what is it these days? What's popular? What's trending? Who cares? Because we're going to go with a straight leg jean that's always going to work and it's always going to be classic. I could even hone in on that further and say I would suggest a dark blue pair of denim pants, because that way you can dress that up and down more versus if you did a medium to light wash in blue, because that could look a little bit more casual.
Okay. Yep. I see that exactly. Maybe I'll go home and get rid of mine.
So that's just one example in terms of denim pants.
Okay.
A classic, a good white t-shirt. Crew neck white t-shirt, nothing that's too thin that you have to layer pieces under. Like a well-structured white t-shirt is a wardrobe staple and classic that I would include in that capsule. And as we're going into the fall-winter season, I love a good moto jacket, so which is short form for motorcycle jacket. And whether it's leather or pleather or, whatever your beliefs are there.
Okay.
That's really timeless as well.
Okay, perfect. I have all these items so far.
Great. You're doing amazing. And with that, again, I'm talking about classic fits.
Okay.
So we're still in a season where there's that oversized fit that's really trending. However, we know that that's going to come and go. So if you have a moto jacket or, a little leather pleather jacket, that's just that right fit. It's not too oversized. It's not too tight. Again, that's going to withstand the test of time.
Okay.
So these are the pieces to invest in as well, right? Because sometimes, I know everyone's budgets are different, but when it comes to those capsule pieces, we really want to invest in them because we know they're classic and they're going to last for years or maybe decades. These are the pieces that are worth investing more in.
So if I want to maintain this minimalist approach and build this capsule wardrobe, how do I weave in the trendy items? Are those items I'm going to be spending less money on? And how do I be intentional about those purchases?
To your point, yes, I would suggest these are the pieces that you don't have to invest as much in terms of the dollars that you're spending, because they are trendy pieces that might only last a season or two. For example, mind you, this could be a staple piece, but like a graphic t-shirt.
Okay.
Right? Like this is a piece that you don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on. In fact, you can find the best graphic t-shirts secondhand, and they could be under $10. That's an example of, a trendy piece that you're pulling in that's not costing a lot. And maybe it is something that you're going to retire after a season or after 2 years. And by retire, I mean, we're going to donate it. We're going to swap it with someone. We're never disposing of clothing, obviously. But that's an example of purchasing something where you're going to infuse it with those classic pieces. So you could pair that graphic tee with your dark denim straight leg pants. And another staple that I didn't mention is like a good blazer, a good black blazer.
Yep.
So we can pair that graphic t-shirt under that black blazer. And now we're mixing that trendy piece with those classics.
One thing I noticed for myself when it comes to the trendier items is that those purchases may be made at in the evening when I'm just scrolling on my phone. I'm not putting too much thought into it. It may be very unlike me. My style, let's just say. I may purchase it, get it, and then question what I was thinking, might not wear it. And then I might want to return it. I might not return it. How would you suggest people go about making those purchases to ensure that it is the right purchase, not have regret, and then not have to waste time returning it, or maybe they don't even return it?
Returns are tough for a lot of people because it's a time thing.
Yes.
And many don't have the time, and then it just sits there, and now we've just wasted money. So I love that you brought that up. So the first thing I'm going to answer is, you said it might not feel quite like you, and maybe you're making this impulse purchase. So one of the starting places that I work with my clients is really deciphering and understanding how they want to present themselves in terms of their style. Okay. So that's a starting place. And you don't have to work with a professional like myself. This is something that individuals can do on their own. And it's really understanding exactly what I'm saying. How do you want to present yourselves? And maybe you're narrowing that down to a few adjectives. Maybe it's, I want to look chic. I want to look classic. I want to look elevated. And so when you have these adjectives and this image in mind, and you're anchoring on that, when you're going shopping, whether it be in person or online, you're going to gravitate to pieces that align with those adjectives or with your, the best self or this aspirational self that you want to present.
What about for individuals who don't know how they want to look? Do you guide them on that?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I have, guiding questions. I have a process in terms of helping them with that.
Okay.
Because you're right. It could be very overwhelming just to even know how one wants to present themselves. So that is something that I help individuals with. But again, if you're not working with someone like myself, even just images online, whether it be social media or, maybe it's friends or celebrities. And if you can just gather those images about what you like about those individuals, and then you might see a pattern in terms of what they're wearing, that can help to establish how you're trying to present yourself.
Okay, so even if an individual doesn't have the words, they can do some searching through pictures, see what they like, and then that can help kind of present how it is they want to present themselves.
Exactly. And I still love Pinterest.
Okay.
I think it's a great platform. I think it's so great to, draw inspiration, and it's super easy to use. So I think Pinterest is a great starting point if you're not quite sure where to go with that. Okay. So the online shopping, and you got carried away at night and you're buying things that maybe don't feel like you.
And it's really because those might be the more affordable items. And I think, fall is coming up. I want to grab some items. This looks great. I should just get this. It's an easy purchase because it doesn't cost that much.
Right. So coming back to shopping with intention. So whether it's creating a shopping list, just like when we go grocery shopping, generally we have a shopping list and we're going by what we need versus just willy-nilly going down the aisle. Oh, this is on sale. And maybe some people do grocery shop like that, and to each their own. But the same rule applies with shopping for clothing. Okay. If we don't have a list or a strategy or intention, we are going to get caught up in, this is on sale. This might look cute. It's not really me, but I'll try it. So being more streamlined with what we need and being intentional with our shopping, whether it's in person or online. And I would suggest, because you're not alone with that late night shopping and maybe some regrettable purchases, is if you want to add some things to cart at 11 p.m., sleep on it and come back to it in the morning with fresh eyes and a fresh mind. And then you can assess, do I still want this piece? Maybe it's going to be sold out. Well, it was a sign you weren't meant to have it.
Yep, that's right. It's such a good point because I feel at one point I probably had 20 carts on the go.
Oh, yeah.
And if I wake up and I'm not thinking about those items in the cart, then that's a sign.
For sure.
I think it's really the sales also are what can get a lot of people because it may not have been on their list, but that sale really gets them. It's a good trap for people because they buy that item that's on sale and think, I saved so much money. Look what I got. But actually, I'm like, you didn't save the money. You were never planning on buying that in the first place.
That's right.
So just pretend like it's not a sale. Don't fall into that trap and make sure it's on the list.
Yes.
Okay.
Coming back to that list. And also being mindful of, let's say you're buying 4 items on sale. Think about what that total cost is and how if you took that total and purchased one of those classic pieces and invested a bit more in one classic piece that's going to withstand the test of time and last for years, weigh that out. as well. Okay. And I know that's hard to do. It takes pausing. It takes thinking and not just being like, a little bit impulsive with our purchasing.
So I'm thinking about this shopping list or list of items that an individual may need. Was this list created then as a result of the closet reset?
Yes.
Okay. I think one of the steps I'm realizing that I've been missing is after I do my closet reset, I do often like to do it in the transition from one season to another. I'm really good at getting rid of items, but I'm not looking ahead to what I need, and I'm not creating that list. And I think that partly I don't know what should go on that list.
That's fair. That's common. And so I help clients. So as I'm doing this closet edit, closet reset experience, so not only am I helping them release clothes that are no longer working for them, I am also giving styling advice with the pieces that we're keeping.
Okay.
So I'm giving them fresh perspective and ideas, some tricks and tips with how to style things. And then another piece is creating this list of items that they could use or that we're going to purchase to make the rest of their wardrobe a little bit more cohesive and wearable. So I'm creating that list as we're going through their closet.
So for individuals who have been living in t-shirts, sweats, or leggings for a long time, like I was feeling, and they don't really know where to start, but they do want to be rejuvenated, how would you suggest they start?
It is just starting. It's just taking that first step and literally taking that first step in your closet.
Okay.
And starting to face the music. Now, I know that we said that could be overwhelming, but here's a tip that I'm going to provide. I would say grab a piece in your wardrobe that you love the most, that makes you feel the most confident. Maybe it's a formal piece. Maybe it is something more casual. But then I'm going to ask that individual to connect with the idea as to why does this piece bring them so much joy?
Okay.
Or why does it make them feel confident or the most beautiful or the most handsome? So what I'm trying to do here is spark that or rekindle that idea of joy and excitement with their closet. And I'd like to believe that there's got to be at least one piece in there that they're going to feel really, really confident and amazing in. So when they pick up that piece and they kind of do that background work as to why it makes them feel that way, then I'm going to encourage them to wear it. And maybe it is a formal piece or a dress that they haven't worn in some time. Create an occasion to wear that dress.
Okay. Yep.
And again, now we're practicing that idea of wearing the item and rekindling again that feeling of joy and excitement about our clothes. And so I'm just trying to create a chain effect here in terms of just like starting to create more positive feelings about our wardrobe and our closet as a whole.
Well, I think that what we wear, it can have such an effect on our self-esteem. And suddenly one individual who's feeling very down on themselves and may not be feeling like they have a lot of confidence, when they're suddenly wearing something that they love, it can completely change their confidence and give them a new outlook on life, essentially.
It really can. It really can. And that's why I love the work that I do, because I know the power of this. And recently I was certified in color analysis. And it's an area that I've intuitively known about, and I've consulted on it, as I said, just by eye.
Okay.
But I actually properly got certified in that. And it's a game changer.
Okay. I was going to ask if you could tell us a little more about that, because I don't know much about what that is.
Sure. So essentially it's whether you're tanned or not, that's your skin. That's like the outer layer. So your skin tone is not going to change over time. So the course that I took, it breaks it down into 4 seasons, and then there's some sub-seasons. But essentially it starts with, are you warm or are you cool in terms of your undertone? And then we break it down further from there.
Oh, wow.
So there's going to be some colors that, and I'm sure, take this theory aside, whether you've worn colors before and someone has said, oh my God, like you look amazing, or, wow, that color really, like, because it helps to illuminate you because it's in harmony with your skin tone, versus some other colors that maybe are going to make you look washed out. Okay. Or someone might be like, oh, like, are you feeling a little sick? Like no one wants to do that. That's not good. So it's that whole what's going to flatter you versus what's going to not flatter you. I'd love
so
to do
you're saying
you.
it goes beyond black and white.
Yeah. There's a whole rainbow,
Wow.
a whole spectrum.
Oh, I love the sound of that because that is one thing. Like some people are just afraid of color or they don't know what color to wear.
That's right.
And so maybe they just wear black because they feel black is more flattering.
They very well do feel that way or think that way.
Yes.
However, for black, for some skin tones, it's going to kind of like drain them. It's not the most flattering.
Wow. Okay. Can we hear a little more about your services, including ones that are in person and virtual?
Absolutely. So we've talked, a little bit at length here about the closet edit or closet reset. And so with that, I generally do go to someone's home and I'm helping them release pieces that aren't serving them, giving them styling advice, creating a list of pieces that they can use. And generally from that process, it leads into personal shopping, which is another service that I provide, which we had the pleasure of doing together. And so personal shopping, that could be done in person or online. Some of my clients are quite busy, whether it's with their families or work. So I also offer that service of going shopping for them versus them being with me in person. So some clients come with me in person. Others, I shop for them and then I'll make drop-offs at their home. And then from there, I can make any kind of exchanges or returns because we know that returns and exchanges are a pain point. So that's something that I take care of as well. As I just mentioned, a recent new service is the color analysis, which is a lot of fun. And I'm very excited about that because that is new. And I love helping people also just with their branding, right? Because we're always presenting ourselves, whether it's most recently actually helping people like with dating apps.
Oh, wow.
Because we're branding ourselves on a dating app.
Yes.
Right?
Times have changed. Yes.
Very much so.
Okay.
So that's an area that I'm going to be exploring further and sharing more about that soon. And I'm excited about that.
And that's really just helping the individual bring their best self to the forefront so that others can see them shine.
100%. That's it. And we can't deny the power of clothes and how people judge us based on what we're wearing, how we present ourselves with what we're wearing. That's communicating something. So those visual cues with style and fashion are key. And it's leaning into that and understanding the power of that and really presenting our best selves.
I love that.
And then finally, I help my clients pack for trips.
I love that.
It's a big one. I don't know anyone who's like, I can't wait to pack my suitcase for a trip. It's generally not an activity that people enjoy doing. So I'll understand where my client is going in terms of location, activities, all of those factors. And then I'll lay out all of the outfits for their trip and I can go as far as physically packing them if they'd like.
I can see how you can really be a huge time saver for a lot of households who don't have a lot of time. And instead of them going to the mall and spending time shopping, you can help save that time. And then also the packing, it does take time and a lot of mental energy. And I really dread that part. I actually get dizzy having to pack. And so I can see how that can relieve a lot of stress and time for a lot of households.
It does. And, everyone delegates different tasks. And in terms of fashion, it's no different.
For anyone who's listening and is thinking like, yeah, I could really use a fresh start. Why do you think this is so valuable?
I can speak to it personally. Of course, I've seen it with hundreds of my clients as well. But on a personal level, I've experienced the power of style and fashion and how it's transformed my life. I think you know this, Laura, but I used to be a high school teacher and for 9 years. And at the high school level, I taught business courses, but I also taught fashion. And at the time, I mean, I'd consider myself always a stylish, fashionable person. But I'd say at that point, that's really when I elevated my style because I felt like I had to impress
these teens,
these grades 11 and 12s. And also I came in as a contract teacher. They had 5 supply teachers within a week. And I came in as the last one. And they weren't a very welcoming crowd. So for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to use the way that I dress to kind of, I'm not dressing like exactly like the students, but as a way to relate, as a way to gain their respect. And it really did work. So that was at that level. And as I progressed through different careers, I always use style to level up, to, there's that saying, dress for the role that you want, not the role that you have. I believe in all of that, right? What we wear is projecting what we believe to be our self-worth, our self-esteem. We're playing roles every day. Even in what I wore today, it was very intentional, in terms of how I wanted to project myself today. So it's such a powerful tool. I can't speak to it enough. Obviously, like I said, it's worked for me personally, and I've seen the effect with so many of my clients.
You're definitely inspirational, and I always love
Laura.
chatting with you. And I'm going to go home and continue my reset and make my list.
I love it.
And I think that I want to use some of your services again.
Amazing. I'd love to work with you.
Okay, I want to ask you 3 final questions before we wrap up. What's one piece of clothing that you think everyone should get rid of in their closet?
That t-shirt or that sweatshirt that has, one too many holes or rips, or I know, we all have that like comfort piece or that nostalgic piece, but
it's time.
It's time.
Okay.
It's time to let it go.
What is one piece we should all be wearing?
A comfortable pair of sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, COVID changed the game in terms of dressing, more casually, but we could still be dressing casually yet elevated. And, having a great pair of sneakers that you could wear, with street style, even just jeans, a blazer, dress it up, dress it down. I think that's a really key piece.
And what is one trendy item we can purchase for the season?
I've talked about how it's also a wardrobe staple, but a really good blazer.
You love a good blazer.
I love a good blazer. Okay. It's, oh my gosh, it's just the styling options are endless with it. And, right now we're still seeing a little bit more of that oversized fit. So you're asking about a trendy piece. Perhaps it's that black blazer and more of a bigger fit. But yeah, you cannot go wrong with a blazer. And I even love the idea of just perching it over your shoulders and not having like fully on your arms. Maybe you're going to a formal event and you're just styling it that way with a dress. Gone are the days, please. You asked about maybe what we should get rid of, like those pashminas, those scarves.
I forgot about those.
Yes. I know like sometimes some women are going to formal events and they're like, oh, what can I wear over? Like, can I bring a pashmina? I said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to just put a little blazer. We're going to pop a blazer over our shoulders. That looks really chic.
Okay. So the next time I see you, if I'm wearing one, you will know that I've been inspired by you.
Awesome. I love that.
Thank you for being here, Tania.
Thank you so much.
Love chatting with you, like
you
always.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Intentional Household podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Join us on Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest at Intentional Household, where we're sharing even more tips, tools, and resources to help your home run with more ease, intention, and joy. Until next time, here's to creating a household that supports the life you want to live.